Hello bookish friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a new video for my channel, and we might turn it into a little series if you guys like it, but we are going to do a get ready with me while I update you about my life and while we chat bookish things. Don't judge, but I have to put on my little headband because I legitimately cannot get ready without this because I don't like my hair being in my face. If you watched my most recent productive day of my life video, then you would have known that I was talking about how I want to start doing get readies with me, because makeup is one of my other like passions slash hobbies. I worked at Ulta for 3 years, and before that I was like obsessed with makeup videos, and I started watching Queen of Blending MUA, and then obviously started watching Miss Jaclyn Hill. By the way, I'm just doing some skin prep with a CeraVe hydrating micellar water. While I am going to be talking about makeup in this video, I'm also gonna just like quickly show you what I'm using. Probably not harp too much on what I'm using and why, unless you guys want me to, which I can definitely do in the next video, and maybe just specifically talk about like the products I'm using and why I like them and whatnot. Whereas this one's gonna be more chatty and kind of just like me doing my makeup while I chat with you guys, you know? Next, before we go on, I'm gonna use the Ordinary Vitamin C Suspension. This is my favorite like vitamin C serum to use during the day. Sunscreen, I usually use the E.L.F Sun Touchable Wow Glow Sunscreen. The makeup I'm gonna do today is a little more like what I would do if I was going out and like doing something more than just day-to-day makeup, you know? Putting on a little bit of the Ordinary Vitamin C. But anyways, this video is gonna be me chatting about life, chatting about bookish stuff, and answering some questions that you guys had sent me and some recommendations that you had sent me. It's gonna be a lot of fun because I don't really ever do videos like this, and like I said, makeup's always been a huge passion of mine, and I've kind of recently gotten back into trying new products and experimenting with makeup. I was like, I would love to film a get ready with me video, because when I first started watching YouTube, I always wanted to be a makeup influencer where like I got PR packages from companies and all I did all day was play with makeup. While that's part of the goal these days, obviously my main focus right now is like book stuff. I want to start bringing more makeup into my channel and skincare because that is a big passion of mine. The skin is prepped. Like I said, this would be makeup I would do if I was like going out and not just like going to work or whatnot. I typically don't use like a face primer that mattifies my skin or really fills in pores because I don't necessarily need that. I have dry skin. It's definitely a lot more dry in the winter than it is in the summer. And like right now I'm like in between, like I'm kind of like combo. One of my favorite face primers is the Saie Super Glowy Gel. This is in the shade Starglow. I like the warmer one better, but this is just what I have right now and I want to use it up. I use about 3 pumps of this and just slather it on. I got this in a 2-pack at Sephora, like I don't even know, a long time ago, and there was a warmer shade that I like better. But this I have and I'm just trying to use it up. But this is one product that I would 100% buy again because I love what it does. I love super glowy skin. This like, I mean, look at the glow on my face right now. For foundation, I typically use one of 2 things or a combo of one of the things. And one of my favorite foundations is the IT Cosmetics CC Cream in the Illuminate version, I guess. And I use the shade light medium. And I like using this one when I want a little more coverage, but not like a full-blown foundation. If I don't want a lot of coverage, I will use the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer, but I think this is gonna be replaced by the Tower 28 one. For like weddings and really special events, I only strictly wear the Haus Labs Triclone Skin Tech Foundation. My normal shade is 200 Light Medium Neutral. Sorry if my eye is really red. It's like I got sunscreen or something in it and it's just really irritated. Hopefully by the time I start putting makeup on, it'll chill out a little bit. Anyways, the Haus Labs foundation, this is legitimately the prettiest foundation I have ever used in my life. Like, you guys have no idea how beautiful. Sorry, these lights are like kind of bothering me. This foundation is so beautiful. It is like medium to full coverage, but you need the tiniest amount and it just looks so flawless on the skin and it doesn't have any flashback. So if you're taking like pictures and stuff, like you will never have to worry. This is like the best foundation I've ever used in my life. But today we are going to use the IT Cosmetics CC Cream, and what I'll do is I just put a a couple little dots around my face. I used to put it like on my hand and then spread it, but I don't really like doing that, even though I still use my hands. So I literally just put a couple of dots all over my face and then legit just rub in with my hands. Like, this is just such a pretty product, and sometimes I'll take it down my neck because it is a little like a shade darker than what it should be. But it's fine. Hoping to get tan soon. And then I take my E.L.F. Total Face Sponge and kind of just press it into the skin. While I'm doing this, I'm gonna bring my mirror a little bit closer. So if I'm looking this way, that's why I'm like looking close at my face. And then quickly for concealer, I'm gonna use the Bare With Me Serum Concealer. I love this stuff. This one's like almost empty. For face powder, I am going to use my Glowish Luminous Pressed Powder. I used to use like a loose powder, but I don't think I wanna do that. I think I wanna keep it light and use this. For bronzer, because I'm not gonna talk about these each step of the way, I'm just gonna like tell you what I'm using for the next couple of steps and then talk about other stuff. I'm gonna use my newest obsession. This is the NYX Buttermelt Bronzer in the shade Deserve Butter. I love this stuff. For blush, I think I'm gonna use my new one from Merit. This is the Flush Balm in the shade Stockholm. I think that's it for now. I'm not gonna put any highlighter on. The first question I got was, how did Chris and I meet? And it's such a funny, it's not funny, but it's kind of like, people probably think that it's like this crazy story of how we met, but honestly I can't remember the exact day we met because we've known each other since like kindergarten, but our first class together was first grade. And we had like the same friends growing up, and we've kind of always been intertwined in the same circle. We were in the same 4th grade class. We used to kick each other in school and get in trouble for it all the time. There's like this whole debate of who kicked who first. Like, Chris thinks it's me that kicked him, but I think it's him that kicked me. Chris's mom actually worked at the elementary school that we both went to, and she's friends with our 4th grade teacher, and our 4th grade teacher literally said, I think it was Chris that kicked Lexi. But Lexi would, whenever she had to do something in the classroom, she would literally go so out of her way to just like walk by Chris. So we were flirting since 4th grade. And then we went to the same middle school. We weren't like best friends, but we had the same friends. So we were kind of like intertwined when we would go to like dances and parties. So we were kind of like always intertwined. And then obviously we went to middle school together, and we kind of like were on and off like talking in high school, like sophomore year. One day I think I just like decided I liked him and told him. And then from that point on, we've dated, and we are high school sweethearts, which is so crazy to think about. We started dating October 27th of 2012. And I think that was the beginning of like our junior year of high school. So we've been dating since then, which is kind of crazy. Like, it actually kind of blows my mind to think about it. Yeah, we've been dating since then. We dated all throughout college, never broke up, did long distance for 4 years. Quick interruption, I am gonna use the Laguna 02 bronzing cream from Nars just for a little bit of a cream bronze. That's not really that, I mean, it is interesting because it's crazy that we've known each other for so long. And we've been dating for so long. We've literally been dating for a little over 11 years, and we've been married for a year. But he is my high school sweetheart. People are like, well, like, didn't you like get bored? And I'm like, no, not once. Like, not only is Chris my husband and was my boyfriend and fiance, but like, he is legitimately my best friend. And I talk about it all the time. I'm like, I don't know how to be a human without him. Like, he is the voice of reason between us. Like, I am very impulsive and just like don't really think things through, and he is like, Lexi, no, we're gonna do it this way. And I'm like, okay, you're right. And then sometimes we like fight about the way we do things, and then after it I'm like, oh, okay, you were right. I don't know why I don't listen to you more. Like, even when we were buying a house, I could go into any house and see potential in it, and he would be like, Lexi, no, like, this is not a good house to buy. And I was like, yes it is, like, I want to buy this house. And he was like, no, just trust me. I'm gonna use the blush from Merit in Stockholm with a Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. That is pretty much the story of me and Chris. If I had to describe us in bookish terms, we are friends to lovers and high school sweethearts. That's not really a trope, but we are high school sweethearts. I actually am really liking this Merit blush. I've only used it one other time other than Lily right now. But it's so like glowy, but also like not. Saying it's not pigmented is not the best way to describe it because that makes it seem like a negative thing. But like, it's foolproof. I got this based off a recommendation from Jessica Braun, who is one of my like favorite lifestyle beauty YouTubers. She was like, it's so effortless, like you can't really mess it up, you can't really go overboard with it. And I was like, yeah, right. And now I get it. I love this. Also, look at how like glass like my skin is. I am gonna go in with a little bit of loose powder. This is the Covergirl Clean Invisible Loose Powder. This is the best loose powder I've ever used in my life. Oh my god. And this is in the shade Translucent Fair because I am a pale bitch right now. Okay, I don't know what I was just saying. Chris just called me and I think I was talking about the setting powder. The Covergirl loose setting powder is the best one. It like gives you coverage and like flattens the area out, but like doesn't make it look powdery. And I always put it on with my damp sponge, so it kind of like melts it into the skin better. The next question I got was, we'll do a bookish one now. My favorite book of all time. And it's actually so funny that this person asked this because if you have been watching me for a while, you would know that my favorite book of literally all time is The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce. And that is still accurate and still my favorite book. And I don't know what it is about that book. I think I just like her writing style because it's very easy to read and like comprehend what's going on. And my favorite thing about that book is the friggin' plot twist. Like, I thought I was figuring it out the entire time and I'd be like, oh, this person did this, this is how this is gonna go down. And literally I was wrong every single time, and I love that about a book. Like, I love getting proven wrong. Like, I don't like when I guess a twist and then it happens that way because I'm like, okay, whatever. And that book, I could not guess anything if I tried. I tried so hard to guess what was happening and I was wrong every time. And I just love the main character, Ellen. She is like a detective that kind of got like mentally messed up from one of her previous cases, and it still haunts her to this day. And then I'm using the NYX bronzer, by the way, and with the brush that they like launched with it. In the first book, The Sanatorium, it's a series, by the way. In the first book, The Sanatorium, at the very, like, throughout the book, there seems like there's somebody following her, and you get this like perspective of like an unnamed character, and they're saying like, oh, Ellen's doing this, oh, Ellen's doing that. Like, I'm gonna get her one day. And then at the end of the first book, it like leaves you on such a cliffhanger of like whoever this person is following her is like watching her. And I was like, what the hell? Like, it ended so good. It was such a good cliffhanger. The second book, The Retreat, didn't like follow up and answer that. So I kind of didn't like the second book as much as I liked The Sanatorium. Like, The Sanatorium, when I think of like my perfect thriller, it's The Sanatorium. The plot was good, the characters were good, it was easy to keep track of who was who and how this person was related to the story. And yeah, but the second book, The Retreat, wasn't my favorite simply because you didn't like get your answer about who is like following her and why. But I literally on Saturday got an arc of the third book, which is called The Wild. I literally could not be more excited to read this book because I'm hoping that we get an answer on who this like mysterious person is. But it's so crazy because last summer I got an email from somebody from Penguin Random House asking if they could send me The Retreat by Sarah Pierce, which is the second book. And I responded and I was like, no, actually, like, I already read it, I already own it, like, don't waste sending me a copy. Send it to somebody else who hasn't read it yet. When I heard that the third book, The Wild, was releasing this year, I reached out to that same person and I was like, hey, I know you tried to send me a Sarah Pierce book last year. Is there any way I can get an early copy of The Wild, her newest book? And the girl was like, can you reach back out to me in like February? So I reached back out in February and I was like, hey, just following up. And they were like, oh my God, yeah, like, we'll totally send you a copy. And I got my early copy on Saturday and I'm so freaking excited because I love Sarah Pierce's writing, and I just like, I don't know what it is. And every time I've posted anything about her online, she has always responded to me, which just makes it so much better. Like, when an author actually acknowledges their readers, it just makes you appreciate them so much more because they're like actually taking time out of their day to like talk to the people that are reading their books and buying their books. I just love Sarah Pierce. She is like the kindest human being. I have chatted with her on Instagram multiple times every time I post about her, and that just like makes me love her even more. All of that to say, The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce is my favorite book of all time. The face is done. I'm loving how glowy I look and how like smooth my skin looks. So now I'm going to set that with the Urban Decay All Nighter Spray. This is like a tried and true. There's literally nothing else on the market that works as good as this. It's So we're gonna spray this, and then I'm bougie and have a fan to dry my face. And once it's like halfway dry, I take my damp sponge again and just press it in so it melts everything in and doesn't look powdery. Don't forget the neck ever. All right, while I'm finishing drying my face, I'm gonna answer another question. This one is also bookish related, and it says, do you have a favorite horror author? Have you read Brother by Nia Alborn? I wouldn't say I have like an all-time favorite horror author because I've read a couple horror books from multiple different authors. The one I've read the most from is Darcy Coates, but I wouldn't say she's like an all-time favorite author because she's very hit or miss for me. Like some of her books I love, and some of her books I'm like, I just wasted so much time reading this. For eyeshadow today, I actually think I'm gonna switch it up. I usually use the Dose of Colors Baked Browns little matte eye palette. This is like my go-to. But I think I just like decluttered my makeup drawers the other day and I came across this beauty. This is the Juvia's Place, the Warrior 2 palette. And it's just like some really pretty warm neutrals. I'm kind of feeling like, I mean, I'm gonna go with the neutrals, let's be honest, but I'm kind of feeling like this in the crease, this on the outer corner, and then maybe doing like a smoky liner. I don't know, we'll see. I have read multiple Darcy Coates and she's very hit or miss for me. I don't love every single book she comes out with. She's not one of those authors that I'm like dying to read from all the time, simply because she just like, there's some books of hers that are really good and then there's others that I'm like, oh my god, like I can't finish this. She's a contender for a favorite. I've also read, oh my god, I can't think of the girl's name. There's this one series, I'm gonna look it up on Goodreads. Oh, right here, okay. It's called Bad Girls Don't Die by Katie Allender. This was a crazy book and it's a great series. It's not very well known, like on Goodreads. Oh, actually it's got 29,000 ratings on Goodreads, but a 4-star rating. And I read this on a whim. I honestly have no idea how I got a hold of the first book, but I'm so happy I did because it was so good. And it's a 3-book series, I think. Yeah, it's 3 books. I read book 1 and 2, gave book 1 4 stars and gave book 2 4 stars. And I still have book 3 I need to read. In terms of like favorite horror author, maybe it's her. And as far as reading The Brother by Anita Alborn, I have not read it, but I do own it and I do want to read it because it sounds really messed up. I actually bought it based off of a Lucinda Berry recommendation, which if you don't know who Lucinda Berry is, you are like totally missing out. She's I guess she could be considered horror, but I think she's mostly like mystery thrillers, psychological thrillers. But she writes like the most messed up stuff. And I like her writing because she used to be a child psychiatrist and she used to deal with like childhood trauma, like not just like parents got divorced, like trauma, like I got left in a Walmart parking lot and my parents just totally left me. So she deals with a lot of that, and I think she uses a lot of her real life experience in her books, so it's so cool. But she's definitely, so she posted about The Brother by Ania Alborn, and from that I was like, okay, if Lucinda Berry recommends it, I'm gonna read it. I guess I have to put The Brother on top of my TBR. So this was a really sweet question. It says, what are some small things that make you happy every day? And that is honestly such a great question because we always focus on like overall mental health, right? Like we say, okay, did I have a good day today? And if one little, like one bad thing happened, we automatically say, no, we didn't have a good day. But it's like, you don't think about all the little things in life. When I saw this, the first thing I thought was, one of my favorite things is Chris, like a small thing that makes me happy is Chris like coming in and giving me a kiss before he leaves to work. Like people are probably like, well, yeah, he's your husband, he's supposed to do that. But like, he always makes a point in the mornings to just say goodbye to me before he leaves because he usually leaves before I'm even out of bed. Like most of the time he leaves for work and I'm still like half asleep, if not like dead asleep. So like the fact that he like goes downstairs, makes his coffee, starts his car, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna go back upstairs and give my wife a kiss goodbye. Like that makes me so happy. And I love that he does that. So that's definitely one small thing that makes me happy every day. The other, and people are gonna be like, well, duh, is my morning routine. I am such a routine person. Like I have my routine down packed. And that routine is literally getting up, letting Louis out, and while I'm letting him out, brewing my coffee in the Nespresso, or in this case, just like not doing that because I've been drinking a lot of like French press coffee, making my greens in the morning, taking my vitamins, and then like letting Louis in and giving him his morning treat. Like that is a small little thing and like a little morning routine that just makes me so happy. And if I don't do it, I just feel like I'm like thrown off for the rest of my day. That's just like one little thing that just makes me so happy every day. Like I love being home And I love, like, on a Saturday morning getting up and making my coffee and just being able to like chill and not rush to get ready for work. I do love my little morning routine. I love how excited Louis gets over just getting his morning treat after he goes outside. I think that's sufficiently answers that. It's just like routine. I love coming home to Louis. Like, there's nothing better than coming inside after, like, coming home after a long day at work. And I drive a lot for work, so it's like a lot. And just like being greeted by Louis, and he's so excited to see me, and he's the sweetest little boy. So definitely that. The last question I got is like a 2-part question. It says, what got you interested in reading and starting a bookstagram and a booktube account? What got me into reading was, this sounds cliche, but it was kind of the pandemic. I had borrowed a book. It was called Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I'm sure you've heard of it. My one friend from college let me borrow it, and it sat on my nightstand for like weeks because I was like, I don't really like to read. Like, I don't really have the time or like the attention span for it, and I just don't think that's like a hobby for me. And then boom, the pandemic hit. Oh, also I'm using my Loreal lash primer and the E.L.F Big Moon mascara. This is like my ride or die combo. The pandemic hit, and I was like, well, I have nothing else to do. I might as well read this book. The book is pretty short, so it wasn't like I was reading a really thick book and like intimidated. I started reading that book and I was obsessed. My dad is a big reader, and he's always used to read. And so I would like look through his books and be like, oh, can I read this? Blah, blah, blah. And him and I kind of have similar tastes, not so much anymore, but when I first started reading, he liked a lot of like mystery, thriller, like crime. And so I would read some of his books. And then obviously the library was like weird about renting books at the beginning. Like, you had to wait a while. So I used my library when I could, but I then started the obsession of buying books. And my camera battery's about to die. That's great. I'm just gonna go until it dies. I would go to like Target. I would buy books on Amazon, and it kind of just started from there. I obviously had a lot of time to read during COVID. I was unemployed for like 3 months. I was on a contract job before that, and the contract ended in April of, it had to have been 2020, and they couldn't renew it because of the pandemic. So I was like, all right, fuck it. Like, I'm gonna take the summer off, collect unemployment. And then I got a new job like once the summer was over. Honestly, the best 3 months of my life, because all I had to really worry about was taking care of my dog. And it was nice out, so I would take him for like 3 walks a day. That's kind of where my love for reading started. As far as Bookstagram, I had an Instagram account for when I was reselling clothes on Poshmark, because that was another phase I went through. At first, I would just like post what I was reading on my personal Instagram. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I have this Instagram from when I was doing Poshmark. Like why not just like repurpose that? I already had like 500 followers on it, so I was like, I'm just gonna change it to a reading Instagram, and that's kind of how Bookstagram just started. And at first I really only used it to just like post book reviews. I quickly learned like what Bookstagram was, and that there was like a whole ass community of people who liked reading like I did. Shit, I just got mascara under my eye. It kind of just like developed from there, and then I discovered that booktube was a thing. And as I said, I had already been like obsessed with YouTube and wanting to be on YouTube because of watching makeup videos. And then I don't remember when exactly I got a camera, but I think I got it for Christmas one year. I had like my parents give me money, Chris's parents give me money, and Chris give me money, and I bought my Canon G7X Mark II. It sat there for probably a year not being used at all because I was too scared to like take the plunge and actually start YouTube, because I was like worried what people were gonna think of me sitting and talking to a camera. And then I think one day I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like, who fucking cares? This is something I've always wanted to do, and if it doesn't go anywhere, then guess what? I can just stop and deactivate my account. I have also always been a realistic person, knowing that success is not gonna come overnight. Like, I am not gonna get millions of subscribers overnight. I think some people struggle with that and like slow growth. Like, I think people really struggle with that, and I have always been like, I know it's gonna be a slow and steady process. Like, I know I'm not gonna grow to 100,000 subscribers in a freaking year. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Okay, my camera just died and we're back. Let me change the battery. I forget what I was saying. I'm doing my eyebrows quick. I use the E.L.F. Wow Brow. I don't really put pencil in because I don't really like dark eyebrows anymore. I used to love dark eyebrows, but I literally just use this to kind of like shape them and fill them in where I need to, which is usually the front. Brush them up and out. What the hell was I saying? When it comes to YouTube, I've always wanted to be on YouTube. Like, you can literally ask anybody that knows me. I have always said I want to be a YouTuber when I grow up. Since I watched my first Queen of Blending makeup video, I started following some people on YouTube, and I was like, I can literally do this. It's not like they're doing anything like crazy and you need a special skill for. I was like, I could easily do this. And honestly, when it comes to booktube content, all I do is create and post content that I personally like watching. So I don't really like sit down videos anymore where people just sit and like recommend books to me. I need to put something on my lips. My face looks very top heavy. So that's pretty much how I do all my makeup. That is like the, I don't want to say bare minimum. Sometimes I'll throw on some eyeliner, and if I'm going to a wedding, obviously I'll use a heavier foundation, which I don't even think I need, and I'll throw on some lashes. But let's do lips quick. There's really not much to like why I started. I just did. I realized that like posting about books and like posting about like what I'm reading and what I'm buying and all that, I'm using the Charolette Tillbury Pillow Talk lip liner, could like eventually lead to a full-time job. And I was like, okay, like I would love to be a content creator full-time. Obviously it's not realistic to just like jump into it if you don't have like a following and like a channel started. So I've been slowly working on being consistent on posting on booktube and bookstagram. I don't really do TikTok anymore because it's too much freaking work. Like I don't have the time to be posting 7 to 8 videos a day. That's pretty much what got me into reading, why I started booktube, why I started bookstagram, and honestly it was the best decision I ever made because I absolutely love doing YouTube. I like YouTube the most out of any platform I use. Obviously Bookstagram and YouTube are like my main platforms, and I don't really do anything else other than that. I'm really trying to get good about posting consistently, specifically on YouTube, because this is my main focus in the year and continuing into 2024. If you are like debating on starting any type of channel or anything, just freaking do it. I promise you, it's gonna be terrifying at first and you're gonna be like, oh my God, are people gonna judge me? Like what's gonna happen? Fuck it, who cares? Like as long as you are happy and there's people that watch you and support you, like what people from high school think about you and say about you doesn't fucking matter because you're doing what you want, okay? And that's all I have to say on that. But I just threw on a little lippy. My favorite lip products ever are the Tarte Marcuja Juicy Lips. I don't really know the difference between like the two packaging styles. Like the bottom two are rose gold and this top one is like a pinky color. I know that they have like different formulas. Some have shimmer, some are more sheer, and some are more pigmented. But the three that I have, which are mixed berries, which is the one I just put on, it's like a pretty nudie pink. I also have peachy beige, which is obviously more peachy, and I also just recently got strawberry in the Sephora sale, and this is more of like a pinky strawberry color. But I absolutely love these. Like these are my favorite lip products because I don't like anything too crazy. Like you'll never catch me in a bold bright lip or dark lip. It's just not me. So I love those. I am just gonna straighten my hair a little bit. I'm not gonna do too much because I don't like putting a lot of heat on my hair, and I don't like putting heat on my hair every day. Like I legit never do my hair unless we're going out for a nice dinner or we're going to a wedding. But last had to be in winter, I bought myself a new cheese straightener because I had a cheese growing up and it literally lasted me 12 years and it finally broke. Then I bought myself a Paul Mitchell straightener and I don't think it worked nearly as good as the cheese do. So I bought myself a cheese when they were on sale for like the holiday season last year. For like a heat protectant, I used the Joice Heat Hero, and then obviously Batiste dry shampoo. But I'm gonna put dry shampoo on after I actually straighten my hair. Those are the questions I got. I guess I could do some like, not really life updates, but more of like a reading update. I have been in such a freaking reading slump since I read Magnolia Parks. Like since reading Magnolia Parks, I think it was mid-March, I have had the hardest time picking up books that I like. And it's not that I haven't been reading, it's just every book that I have read pretty much since then I have not loved, and I've either given 2 stars or like DNF, which is not great. I would say I'm in a bit of a reading slump. I did start the 5th book in the Steele Brothers series, which is by Helen Hart, and if you know, you know. I went through a phase where I was fully hooked on that series and could not stop reading the books. It's a very, very, very dark romance series with a little bit of like thriller stuff in it, and obviously there's like a mystery of something that happened and they're trying to figure it out. On top of like all the dark romance, there's that. So it's not just like, well, a lot of it is just sex, which is fine with me because I like that. There's also like a mystery aspect to it, so it's kind of got both going for it. But the way these books end on cliffhangers, it's not even funny. Like I read the first book and I already owned books 1 and 2. After I finished the first book, I instantly read the second one. And then when I finished the second one, I was like, I need all of these books in this series. So I bought books 3, 4, and 5. And I'm currently on book 5. The first 3 books follow one brother. Books 4, 5, and 6 follow another brother. 7, 8, 9 follow another brother. And then 10, 11, 12 follow the sister. And it goes all the way up to 28 books. And I think each character that she writes about gets 3 books, and I think eventually it gets to like the first character's fucking kids. So I'm like, wow, I'm in this for the long haul because there's legit 28 books in this series. I'm hoping that by reading book 5, it'll like get me out of this reading slump, because these books are only like 250 pages and they read so quick and they always end on cliffhangers. So I'm hoping that it'll just kind of like give me that little boost I need to get back into reading a lot. The weather has gotten a lot nicer in the last couple, well, days really. And it's now in the 50s. It's so sunny out today, so I would love to get out and do some reading in the gazebo. If you didn't know, or you're new here, I live in upstate New York where it's always fucking cold. We got a snowstorm like 2 weeks ago, and then, well, actually, to back up even further, Chris went to Miami in middle of March. That weekend, it was like in the 50s, and I was sitting outside reading. The next week, we got a snowstorm, and then the week after that, it went to the 70s, and then now we're back in the 50s. So if you didn't know anything about New York, is that it doesn't know how to regulate its temperature, and it goes from being cold to being warm to being snowing to raining to being in the 90s. Like, the weather in New York is all over the place, and it's so annoying. Like, I am a warm weather girly, and I love being outside. I love being tan. I love sitting in the sun. My seasonal depression has really taken its toll this year, and I kept telling Chris, I was like, fucking lose my mind if I'm stuck inside a lot longer. So I'm hoping that now that it's in the 50s and it's sunny, it's gonna stay that way. It is mid-April. It better not snow again. It probably will. Chris and I just celebrated our 1-year wedding anniversary on April 7th. I can't even believe we've been married for a whole freaking year. The time has so flown by. Now some of my other friends are starting to get engaged, and I keep telling them, I'm like, please just enjoy every second of it, because when it's gone, you're gonna be like, damn, I would love to plan another wedding. I would love to do this all over again. And Chris and I had a really fun wedding, if I do say so myself. All right, hair straightened. I'm gonna throw in some dry shampoo. I am like totally at ends with my hair. I also don't know how to do hair. Like, I don't know how to make it look good. I mean, I do, but like, hair has never been like my forte. Makeup, I can do all day, every day. I'm good at it. But hair, I just don't understand. That is the hair done. I think that's all I have for updates, really. If you guys want me to keep doing these videos, definitely let me know in the comments. And let me know if there's anything you want me to like talk about or add in these videos. Like, if there's something you want me to like keep you updated on, or something you want me to talk more about, definitely let me know. I had so much fun doing this. I'm definitely gonna take this makeup off in like an hour when I go to take away for you know what. But honestly, I had so much fun filming this, and I had so much fun just like sitting and doing my makeup. I don't do it like this often because we don't really like go places where I need to do a lot of makeup, or if we do, I'm lazy and just throw on my powder foundation and do like what I do when I go to work, which is the bare minimum. Getting to just like sit down and play with makeup and do my face was a lot of fun. So if you like this video, definitely let me know in the comments below. I can definitely continue doing them. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, and give this video a like, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.